Well, Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, have updated their social media accounts using some reels, which is a recent addition, relatively speaking. So, a reel uses a video or a lot of photos, and these are played to music. I guess music isn't necessary, but anyway, William and Catherine chose to use music in their Instagram posts and on Twitter too, because after all, nothing creates a mood better than some music. From the very beginning of their relationship and marriage, Harry and Meghan have been using Instagram, and they did use a few photos to create a narrative. William and Catherine simply were not willing to use their kids back then, probably because they were so young, but they did put out photos of themselves. However, they didn't want to post any private photos of themselves in the beginning. I suspect that was William's choice because he was a little bit nervous. He didn't trust the press at that time. Catherine, I think, helped him lower his defenses. 2018 feels like such a long time ago when it comes to social media, doesn't it? 5 years ago, the Wales kids were a lot younger, but now they're out doing royal work sometimes, especially Prince George. I also suspect that William understands how versatile and how creative social media posts can be, and the fact is they don't necessarily interfere with his family's personal life. On a social media post, William and Catherine get to control the narrative a lot more than they can when the media reports on them. The fact is, this gives Prince William and Princess Catherine the chance to convey what they've been up to, and it gives users access to the royal family like never before. Another thing to consider is that William and Catherine didn't actually work as full-time royals until 2017. They had to figure out how to create an image. Now, Meghan had been busy creating images ever since she left college back in 2005, so she instructed Harry to just trust the process, and they used Instagram with filters and Photoshop to create so many fake narratives, and some true ones as well. William and Catherine have found out what they want to highlight, and they do so in many different ways, but they're always honest. So, the fact is, William and Catherine certainly do not need to adopt anything that Meghan and Harry do. In fact, it would be a lot better if Meghan and Harry could adopt some habits of the Wales family when it comes to their strategies. You know, like working hard to actually help people, smiling, meeting people, shaking hands, not beating a horse until it bleeds and has to be put down, walking and playing with their children like normal parents maybe. Anyway, maybe they do the last one, but I highly doubt it. You see, until Meghan and Harry can figure out some way to make money off the images of their children, they're going to continue to keep them hidden, if they're actually real, that is. At this point, I don't believe anything that Harry and Meghan do could be called smart or intelligent or clever. Since Meghan's big media strategy is to call it the paparazzi or tell Scooby-Doo which narrative to try to put out there for that particular day, I don't believe so. The truth of the matter is, William and Catherine do not need to follow in Meghan and Harry's footsteps. They have a very smart media team, and they are doing an amazing job. They do not need to sink to the same level that Meghan and Harry have found themselves on. Anyway, in other news, according to at least one of Harry's old friends, not a single one of them actually thought that Meghan was the right person for him, and most people actually didn't like her one bit. They didn't like her woke attitude, they didn't appreciate the fact that she had a problem with their jokes, and most of all, her hatred of everything that Harry loves about the country. That struck them as unsuitable in a wife for Harry. She was a city girl through and through, still is. I do believe all of these people at one point or another suggested that maybe Harry was making a mistake. And apparently Harry's response was always, "But she's so hot." That is the love that Meghan is offering Harry. It is not real love. It's just Meghan being pretty good at seduction, and Harry being pretty dumb and falling for all of Meghan's tricks. And from the way they act, it seems like even those feelings are now long gone. And you know, my suspicion is that in fact a lot of those feelings were done by the time they got married. I mean, even back then, Harry looked like he was trapped, but I guess he figured he couldn't get out of it at that point. And I will always believe that the trap was Meghan told Harry that she was pregnant, and that's why they got married so quickly. And as we know, that wasn't the case anyway. It was overheard by employees at Admiralty House in Australia. Why else would Harry be shouting at Meghan, "Are you really pregnant this time?" That is what people heard. I think this marriage was doomed to failure from the very beginning. Not only has Meghan destroyed Harry, but she also has done a lot of damage to herself. I can't help but wonder how this mess is going to end up. And the miscarriage or mistake was Meghan's truth, I guess. But the thing is, faking a pregnancy is the oldest trick in the book. I can't believe Harry fell for that. Many years ago, actually, a friend of mine who just so happens to be a male and I were discussing accidental pregnancy. So he and I have been friends for years now, and he was asking me if hypothetically, if he had somehow gotten me pregnant way back when I actually still could get pregnant, would I have agreed to marry him? Well, I told him absolutely not. That would not be a good reason to marry him, because I would never use pregnancy as the only reason to marry him or any other man for that matter, not even if he were rich. And as for the invisible children, until the public actually gets to see these kids with their parents, and until each of them has had a DNA test, Meghan is probably not going to get a big payout like she's thinking. Scheming and lying and attacking the royal family is simply not the way to get a big settlement. For the 2 years that she was actually living in the UK, maybe she overheard some royal family secrets, but at this point, those are old secrets that nobody cares about anyway. And didn't Harry tell most of the secrets anyway in that stupid book that he put out? And then there was that game that Meghan and Harry kept playing where they would drop in all of these strange words out of nowhere. And then if you look them up in Urban Dictionary, boy, are you going to be shocked. They were just laughing behind their hands, thinking about how smart they were. The disgusting thing is that they often use them in reference to arch-official, like waffles or crocodiles or palm trees, salt and pepper. You can look that stuff up for a start. Why do they want to connect these disgusting, nasty acts to a small boy? Meghan's also very familiar with NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. After all, that's what she has used against other people to keep them quiet, people who know about the skeletons in her closets. So any settlement could very well depend on whether or not she can stay silent, and if she can't, then blackmail is a crime, and it's a crime punishable by a prison sentence. I just hope that if Meghan gets any sort of payout, she has to give DNA tests to those invisible children. But I guess Harry's too dumb to consider that, and I don't think that he would follow his family's advice anyway. He's already shown that he doesn't care what they have to say. I do think that Harry loves children, so I think that even if they were not biologically his, Harry would agree to accept and provide for Meghan's children. Harry is dumb enough to have fallen in love with a narcissist, so I think loving any children in the picture through no fault of their own would be pretty easy for him. Meghan has done a great job in brainwashing him, and also wearing his late mother's perfume, how disturbing, and adopting her poses while pretending to be an ambassador in Africa for impoverished people. But actually, she was just taking clothes for a fashion shoot. Meghan is such a nasty piece of work. And what about that claw that she's always got sunk into his arm to make sure that he does everything she wants him to do? She acts like she's his mother, and she is so fake. I also recall hearing early on that Harry had actually broken up with Meghan, and he even went so far as to start seeing somebody else. And supposedly, Meghan Markle ended up crashing Harry's friend's wedding in, I do not remember where. Was it some Caribbean island? Let me know in the comments if you remember. I am too lazy to look it up. But anyway, I do remember seeing some photos where Harry looked so uncomfortable and Meghan was just staying so close to him. She wouldn't let him out of her sight. So according to the story that has been repeated, Meghan stayed the night, and thanks to her expertise in that area, she rocked his world. And at that point, she had him wrapped around her little finger. And then supposedly, there was a time or 2 or 5 when Meghan claimed to be pregnant, and then Harry finally agreed to marry her. This is based upon a lot of talk dating back to before they were even engaged, so I kind of believe it might be true. Meghan's a con artist, and I really believe that she made a deal with the devil. There's no other explanation. I have never seen such an evil person in my entire life. Maybe Meghan was actually a lot more willing to do stuff in the bedroom that other nice girls were not comfortable with. She is, and she will always be, the biggest mistake Harry ever made. And you, what do you think about the relationship between Harry and Meghan? Please tell me your opinion below in the comments section. If you preferred our video tonight, please remember to like and share it with anyone else who would enjoy it anytime you want. And please subscribe.